So, like I said, if you're just joining me in this little training, we're going to introduce keywords and sort of figure out how to find keywords so that you can start showing up for these search phrases in Google. Now, FYI, if you have a brand new website, you should know that it's really going to take about a year or so before you show up in Google searches. Maybe longer. I'm sorry. I didn't create the system. Don't shoot the messenger. But if you are, fine with that and fine with waiting, um, realize that your wait actually will become successful. Your wait will actually turn around and produce money for your business, regardless of what you do. So that's awesome. The reason why I'm saying that is SEO has the highest return for doing searches. When people come to your site looking for something, they're ready to pull the trigger, and the chances of them pulling the trigger is a lot higher. It's between 15 and say up to almost 50%. Almost half of really everyone who comes to your site could be pulling the trigger, or at least 10 out of 100 kind of is the bottom line. So that's awesome. So let me share my screen, and I'm going to just rock through this quick little training and start the slideshow from the beginning. So all about keyword research. So our agenda in this little thing is I'm going to explain what keywords are if you don't know what they are, just real quickly. We're going to talk about the 3 different types of searches, and we're going to talk about long tail keywords. And then also, fourthly, we're actually going to actually do, keyword research. And there's different training here where I explain how to do that. But that's really kind of, what we're going to be doing here. And so what are keywords? Just going to hit this real quick because a lot of us know what they are. They're search phrases that people are looking for in Google, right? How do I Google something? That's an interesting search, but people are actually Googling that. And keywords really are the beginning of finding out what people are looking for. It's kind of the beginning of doing SEO. So there's different kinds of searches. I'm going to get into that in a second. If you can find out what those keywords are and find out what what people are looking for, then you can be successful. So let's talk about the different kinds of searches. Essentially, there are 3 different kinds of searches. To keep it simple, there are many more than 3, but just on a simple level, when people are going to Google, they're searching for either transactional searches, informational searches, or navigational searches. So let's just look at transactional searches. If I'm searching for a transaction, I sometimes call that a buying search, right? So if I am, one of my buddies is getting his haircut today, and he was going down probably Google on his maps, on Google Maps, and there was like looking for barbers, and he kept on calling and introducing himself and saying, I need my haircut. So I'm going to pick on barbers today. So let me show you what a transactional search would be. We also like to call these buying searches. I like to call them buying searches because they kind of really convey the whole idea that, hey, somebody's ready to buy something. So if I'm in Google, I could type in my city name, and then I could type in barber, So this is a sort of a transactional search, or this is a buying keyword. Someone searching for this is ready to pull the trigger. Another one could be barber near me, right? Any kind of search phrase where somebody is ready to pull the trigger, that's a transactional search. That's a buying keyword. And notice here that we see the maps in this result, right? So that means that, hey, this is a search that Google thinks it's a buying search. So if Google thinks it's a buying search, that's awesome. So buying searches are pretty awesome, and it's really important to find out which ones are best for you. Let's see here. What about this one? How do I cut my beard? What kind of search is that? Well, it doesn't look like a buying search. It doesn't look like a transactional search, right? Because I see a how-to video, and I see more how-to videos, how to trim a beard. So this is like a different kind of search. This is what I call a informational search. What? It's all connected. Yes, it's an informational search. So that means that somebody's looking for information. So um, if any kind of search, like where people are looking for information, that is an informational search. And that is not necessarily the best search to go off right away. I usually find that having transactional searches and informational searches together are good. So this could be a blog. If you're a barber, how do I cut my beard? I would have a blog post about this, or a video that you transcribe that turns into, a blog post. So how do I cut my beard? How do I find a barber? Right? Any kind of how, where, why would I need a barber? um, and So any kind of who, what, where, why, when, any kind of question is usually an informational search. So if you're a barber or if you're a local business, I think that really I would have some pages and blog posts on your site that are really targeting when somebody is ready to pull the trigger and they're like, hey, Asheville Barber, or Barber Near Me, or Charlotte Barber, or wherever you're based out of. So I would have those kind of keywords on the homepage, but I would also have informational blog posts. Like what's the style? What's the new trend? What are trends for fall? What if I want to have a hipster beard? I don't have a hipster beard, right? It's just more of a generic beard. But so how do I get a hipster beard, right? That would be a great. And I noticed that, not to pick on men or women, but I'm going to say that. I mean, I am going to pick on men or women. I found that women ask questions in searches a lot more often than men. And I think that's awesome. I think that men should be asking more questions. I mean, what's up with these guys who are just like, I'm not going to ask questions? But maybe more men ask questions on searches. But I've done some work for hair salons, and I've found that women are searching for many different questions, and they're always looking for information. They're always using Google. So anyway, that is really the essence of the two kinds of searches. Back to the screen share, and let's see. Just going to grab my little. Okay. All right. So back to, and then the third kind of search is what's called a navigational search. Now, this kind of search is somebody who is looking for a website. They already know what they're looking for, and National Geographic. That's off topic. So on topic would be the name of a hair salon. The name of a barber, Buck's Barber in Durham, North Carolina. Yep, I'm Buck. It's Buck's. You just called Buck's. What do you need? You want a haircut? You want a beard trim? So you're calling Buck's, and Buck's. Then you're going to be looking for Buck's Barber in Durham. So that's a navigational search. And that kind of search is really connected to branding your company name. You really can't you can't really optimize for those kind of searches, but you'll find those kind of searches. So let's talk about long tail keyword. Remember, keywords themselves are just sentences that we put into Google, right? But if you type a long sentence, like where do I find the nearest barber? That's an informational search, right? But it's also a long tail keyword. That basically means that there's a lot of words in that search. Just try to explain it in everyday language. There's a lot of words in that there search there, puppy, buddy. So these kind of searches are really awesome because it has what we call higher buyer intent. That basically means that somebody is closer to pulling the trigger. Thanks, Victoria. Isn't that awesome? Do you like when I use voices? I love using voices. I think that, there's so much training out there, but if you can have fun with what you do, then why not? But anyway, so long tail keywords are higher buyer intent. Any kind of search where there's like 5 or 7 words, or I've seen searches that have like 5 and 10 words in it. What do I do if I'm ready to get a haircut at the nearest barber, and suddenly, that's a question. That's a long, random, long tail keyword. Or if I am looking for a barber in the Asheville, North Carolina area, how do I find one, right? So these long tail keywords are also connected to our phones, right? We've got our phones these days, and I could say Google, um, let's see, Google, and then Google would pop up, and it's not working right now because I'm doing a live training, so of course it's not working, but I can hit find a barber near me. That could be a long tail keyword, but that's finding a search in my phone. How do I find a barber in the Asheville area? So this search that I just did on my phone, I did by voiced. I use my voice, right? That's my voice. So using your voice or voice searches are actually big. Yes, Victoria, I'll definitely keep doing the voices. Thanks. I'm so glad you like them. But the voice search is huge, and more people are using the voices. And, so yeah, definitely more and more people are using voices. I'm Buck, and I want you to know that voice searches are becoming big, and I help websites get to the top of Google. It doesn't even sound like that would be a guy that does that. It sounds like we should usually use a geeky voice. Hi, I get websites to the top of Google. Anyway, but bottom line here is long tail keywords have bigger buyer intent. That higher buyer intent. That basically means that somebody is ready to pull the trigger. Where do I find the nearest barber? That's a more valuable search than if it were like something like barber, right? Or even barber near me. So it's really awesome to find these long tail keywords. They also have lower competition. So that basically means that every keyword has a different difficulty level. So Asheville barber or Charlotte barber or Durham barber would have a higher competition. And then a search phrase like, where do I find the nearest barber in Charlotte would be a lower competition. And so it's usually better to go after these kind of terms. You'll rank for those faster. And they're also lower cost. So that means if you're paying for Google ads or Facebook ads, if you're paying for ads, then you're going to pay less for these longer tail keywords. So we've always said that the money is in the long tail. It sounds like a really weird thing to say, but it just basically means that there is more money in these longer searches because more people are searching for them. So let's really just look at this tool called Keyword Explorer. There's dozens of tools out there, and I found that this one is the best. And the reason why is that it really just helps you find search phrases relatively easy without really nagging you around. I think it's connected to Moz. I know it's connected to Moz, and it costs $100 a month. The thing about this tool, though, is it's worth your money because you can also track search phrases on your website and find out where actually it'll let you track 5 different properties for $100 a month. And you get access to the tool. So I recommend the tool. There are other tools out there that are much more expensive. And it's just like, why would you go there? And there are other free tools out there that actually just have a lot of complication. Google has a tool called the Keyword Planner or the Keyword Tool. They are always changing the name of it, but it's called the Google Keyword Planner, and it is a tool that has a lot of complications and confuses people. So what I'm going to do here with this tool, I've made training already explaining how to use this tool. So I'm not going to really go into that, but I'm just going to do, I'm going to do barber, B-A-R-B-E-R. I'm going to do a search here. I'll zoom in a little bit. And the first thing the tool does is it tells me, hey, we've got a lot of people looking for this, 30,000 people a month. I'm going to click on See All Suggestions. What's going to happen here is it's going to give me search phrases: barber, barber shop, barber tool, pool, barber school, barber pole. If I was a barber, I would go down this list and highlight ones that look good. And notice here that I'm kind of ignoring search phrases that really aren't transactional searches. I'm going down this list and I'm just looking at things that these are just totally unrelated. Barber, 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 barber shops near me. So I'm only looking for the transactional search. Now, if I later on wanted to find informational searches, I could do that. But I'm just going to go down this list and save search phrases. Look at this. What is a barber? Now, that's an informational search. All right. So barber, barber. Okay. So I'm just going to save these to a little list here. Add to keyword list. I'm going to add these 4 keywords into a little list. We're just going to call it barber. And then this is really just like barber searches. I'm going to put it 01 because I like to number my searches. So this is like the first search. I'm also going to click on monthly volume. So what it's going to do is sort this by volume. So the higher volume are at the top, but these keywords may not be as relevant. So no worries, but barbershop near me, Barber Seville, that's not related. So there we go. Brooklyn Barber. Hey, you looking for a Brooklyn Barber? We got Brooklyn Barbers left. We got Brooklyn Barbers right. There's Brooklyn Barbers everywhere. Local barber shop. So I'm going down this list and highlighting one. And notice here that if I get down to these ones that are at the bottom, I'm going to highlight some of these too, even though they have lower volume. But I'm going to ignore search phrases like cheap or affordable. I don't want those people. I don't want people that are nickeling and diming. You don't want those people. That's really not worth your time or money to try to go after someone who just wants that kind of, who wants to nickel and dime you to death, because they're not ready to pull the trigger. They're just going to go, they're just looking to waste your time basically. So avoid the price, affordable, those kind of search phrases. And I clicked off this again, so I'm just going to go, I would go, all right, so I'm just going to go down this list. I'm going to add a couple of these to my search phrase, to my list here. And Baba. I just love how Northerners say Baba. Are you going to the Baba? I'm going to the Baba. I guess I'm in a Brooklyn mood today, huh? And the Ka and the Pak. Here we go. Hairstylist shop, Babas for men. So, these could be the same list, or I could add these to other lists if I wanted to. So here we go. So I'm going to add that to my list, and I'm going to save it. And then now I'm going to do an informational search. So I'm going to put barber. And I'm going to select here this where it says our questions. Okay. So this is saying, instead of giving a mix of everything, let's just give me questions, searches that are questions. And now, what is a barber? How long is barber school? How much does a barber make? Okay. So how to become a barber. If I was a barber, I would probably be like highlighting some of these, and I would think, maybe I would do blog posts on this or videos on this. What does a barber do? What is a barber shop? So add these, and I could save this to a keyword list, and I could say O2 barber, and I could say questions. There we go. And I could also say men's haircut, and find out what questions are there, and add those to my same list. So, what is a fade haircut? How often should men get a haircut? Now that one looks like a really good blog post. So if you're a barber, make a blog post for that one. How often should men get a haircut? You could have one from a woman's perspective and one from a man's perspective. That would be interesting. Where to get a man's haircut near me? So these ones are good ones. And I usually go down this and I'll make lists that are questions and lists that are different topics. So if I wanted to make another list, I could go back to include a mix of sources. And I think I'm alternating between a Southern and a Boston accent. What is wrong with me? Anyway, so I'm going to click on relevancy. So men's haircut, men haircuts near me. So I'm going to make a different list for this one because this is a different topic. This is not the barber. That's not the men's barber. This is more about men's haircuts. Now, this one here, stylish men's haircuts, that's an informational search, right? I might want a stylish men's haircut, but I might just be, in that case, I'm not going to really add that to this list. I'll make a different list. So, bottom line is you're making lists and you're saving them. And I'll save this list and I'll show you the last thing. So, I'm going to say 03 Baba men's haircut, or just said men. All right, yay for men. And then go to Keyword Explorer, and then this is going to show all my lists here. I'm just going to, the ones I just made are at the top, and zoom in here. So we got this one here. I'm going to rename this to men's haircut. So I've got Baba searches, I got Baba questions, I got men's haircut. All right, so at this point, I could take these searches, open them up, and download a spreadsheet, right? I could look at them right here and write them down on a simple level, or I could decide to make a spreadsheet and add them to a spreadsheet. And I usually do that because it's nice to save. I'm really organized in the digital world. It's kind of ridiculous. Not as much in the physical world. I'm not like a total slob, right? But I definitely am getting better, but I'm much more organized in the digital world. So I have these little things here where I can just go view, have a macro with kind of like a saved thing. And this should snap it. So this kind of just sorts it, makes it look nice and pretty. So barber near me, barber shop. Anyway, so bottom line here is I could just say, hey, of all these search phrases, this is the best one. Barber near me. I'm going to highlight 2 of these. And at this point, I'm ready to go on to step 2, which is putting those search phrases on the site. We call that on-page SEO, kind of a weird long explanation for basically just putting keywords on your site. So that is really kind of the end of this little training, because I wanted to keep them short and sweet. But that's sort of all about keyword research. If you have any questions, just leave them below, as always. Leave below the video, and we'll see you in the next training. And maybe I'll do more voices. Baba, Baba, Baba. Maybe I was born in Boston secretly, and I just have to tell you that now. Not really. All right. Have a good day. Bye.